You're on the next one. Oh, yeah. Those are
So how many guys are there? But it's never me, but those are two people. It used to be Tom Sears.
when they say,
It's becoming almost.
All right.
There's one guy that irritates me. Just stay away.
Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. Hey, the sunshine. We got a little extra rain last time. So, our presentation this morning is our very own Mr. Marty Kleine. We had a twisted arm, but he volunteered. So he'll be talking with us this morning about APRS, which I think is kind of seeing a little bit of a resurgence in the last few years, but it's still very much a useful technology. So over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Go ahead and record button over here. Hey. Thank you, Mr. Recording. Thank you all, I'm glad you're here, glad you showed up. Oh, wrong one, this is the microphone, this is the radio. Glad you all showed up. The question of the day is APRS, Automatic Packet Radio System. Who knows anything about this? Look at that. Come up here and do it for me. Great. Actually, what I did was chasing this down the last couple of weeks. I found an article, and a few of us in here will remember a call sign of N5HZR. Norm! And they had an article back in the late 80s talking about the early 90s, talking about APRS and how it was coming and it was cool and it's wonderful. And in that article, it was written up by Ken Brown, who's N5KUK, current member of our group, and N0ELS. And they talked about a call sign I don't remember, KA5DTL. Anybody remember that? N back in the day. And some lid named or call sign N5LCL. That would have been me. That would have been David. So we've had a lot of this stuff. Dave and I've been doing this. I started it in '85. It came from Packet Radio. Packet Radio was big then. Packet's the equivalent of Meshtastic now, just different technology. So those of you that are doing Meshtastic now, yeah, you're welcome. We took the care of this. APRS is the automatic packet reporting system, even though I put it down as the amateur packet radio system every time I do this, because it should be amateur. Late 80s, we came up with this technology for the APRS part of it. 1985, I think, is when I put my system together. I was one of three people. It was me, Mike Salem here in Norman, and Jim Buswell in Oklahoma City. We all three had great receivers, great radios. We couldn't talk to each other. It was terrible. But we ended up getting a lot of stuff going up and around it, and a lot of changes over the years. Bob here, WB4 APR, developed this protocol called APRS, Automatic Packet Reporting System, to try to get more traffic over the system. There's the eye chart. What does it look like up here? The APRS system uses a digipeater. This is what's called a digipeater. It's a repeater that does digital. I don't see him today. Rick wrote the other day, said that means regular repeaters should be called antipeaters. But the digipeater, our digipeater here, that the club runs is out on the county tower. It's mixed with our. Oh, good morning, Ryan. Is mixed with our regular 14706 repeater. It is 320 foot tall and a monster. We can get signals from North Texas Panhandle, probably about 400 or 500 mile radius out of that piece. Yes, lots of parking back and hard to hear. Same here, Ryan. I'm hearing them too. But we have your radio that will talk to this digipeater, so we now get better coverage. Back when I said the three of us couldn't talk to each other, with a digipeater, it's easy to make contacts all over the place. The digipeater is connected by a device called an iGate, and the iGate means internet gateway. So that's how the signals from your radio get to the digipeater and then get to the internet. I teased earlier in the piece on the website, if you have your phone and you're bored, pick up APRS.fi, and you'll see the maps that are out there. I'm sorry, what? 76? Even over the Zoom. So the iGate hooks us to the internet, which gives us PC and mobile phone access, other iGates that go out to other internet portions, and then APRS servers. And the APRS server is what generates the image that you'll see on the maps that you're pulling up, or the ones that I'll show you later. This is the W5NOR SCARS digipeater. These are pictures of it. This top picture is the front of the radios. This bottom picture is the back of the same radios. So if you flip them around, you'll see that the MFJ Enterprises on the bottom goes to the MFJ on the top. It is a 3-piece, actually 4-piece system power supply, Astron power supply in the base that gives them 12-volt power. The thing that says Kenwood on it is a radio. I don't even know what it is. Probably you Kenwood fans will know. Oh, yeah, it's one of those. I don't know what it is. But it's tuned to 144.39. That's the packet frequency that we use for amateur radio packet systems. That radio transmits and receives on the same frequency. It is not a voice type repeater. It is simply a transmit what you hear what you transmit. There is this, they put in a yeah, thanks, Ryan, we're good. This is a MFJ tuner, and that tuner will tune the antenna system. Ours, there's nothing involved in it. They put it in there just to be careful, so that they have something good to go. Bottom one is, or the radios on the left, tuners on the right. This tiny thing with the little green light on it is what's called a Cantronics TNC, or terminal node controller. That device does all of the digital work. So it comes in on the radio, the audio signals go to that device turns it into digital signal and passes them on, does whatever it has to do with it. So that's the digipeater, that's what we use. Out there for the complex part of this, a normal analog repeater has a set of cavities or duplexers to keep the transmit and the receive frequencies separate. So if you transmit on 147.06, we receive on 147.66. On the left, they're mounted upside down and on the ceiling because we're limited for space out there. So it's usually the upside down. You usually see it the other way. These are the cavities that are used for the analog repeater. Now, we could have spent $10,000 more and gotten a new antenna, new feed line, and a guy to climb the tower, probably $20,000 now. But instead, we spent $1,000 on 3 digipeater combiner cavities. These cavities will allow us to take that 144.39 signal and combine it with the 147.06 signal and use the same antenna and the same feed line going up the tower. So if you're into the math of this, it's really cool. Don's going, yep, done that. But all of this hooks up that digipeater that you saw with the SCAR's analog repeater and uses the same antenna. They can transmit at the same time. One of them can transmit, one of them can receive. They're totally different. They do not see each other. The radios do not see each other. So it's for us, it's a really cool way to I don't know, save $20,000. Key features. We talked about Mesh-tastic before. It's about the same as the Mesh-tastic. So if you understand a little bit about that, you understand a lot about this. You can send positions. That's what the automatic sends. You get a GPS receiver on this device, and you can track yourself going around the area. We have a number of us that do that. And if you look at APRS, you might see that going around. APRS.fi, you might see that. But you'll see people's houses. You'll see Ed's got one on his hotspot. The N5HZR hotspot that he used to have. So if you go look at those, you can go turn those on. You can send short text messages back and forth. Back in the day, we did keyboard to keyboard. So, hey, Galen, how you doing? And those messages would fly back and forth throughout the year. Weather data, there are weather centers hooked up to this system. I'll show you on the map. People have automatic rain gauges and weather, wind, temperature receivers to send that data around. They're now doing WinLink integration so that you could transmit APRS over the WinLink frequencies and the WinLink systems. Just a good way to confuse yourself, but it's a cool integration for those who want to play with it. Telemetry, remote sensor data. This was initially, I don't know, Bob's in here, but Bob is working on a device to send like the repeater temperatures and the repeater SWR information back over Mesh-tastic is what we're trying to do. But it is something you can easily do over APRS as well. Event coordination, and that's the biggie that we do here is the marathon, Oklahoma City Marathon. If you're not, or if you are or are not playing along with the marathon on April 24th, 25th, you will see a ton of APRS traffic. And it will be the lead vehicle will have an APRS transmitter in it. The water trucks will all have stuff in them chased around it so you can see what's happening. The other cool thing is that we will put fixed locations like Red Cross, little Red Crosses for the medical tents that are all the way along the route. So the net controllers can look up and see the whole route and then see where everybody's at and make it happen. Make decisions based on where they are. And then finally, a good old keyboard to keyboard or bulletin board system, BBS. Who's used a bulletin board system? Either, yeah, there you go, all the nerds. Good job. I had one at my house back in the days on a packet radio system that I wrote. And, somebody could connect up, leave a message for somebody else. They connect in 10 minutes later, they'll pick up their messages. That was back before the email was popular. But you can still do that. There are still bulletin board systems out there about. The document that you have is from Rod. Who'd you steal that? Or Rob, who'd you steal it from?
Oh, we made it.
Oh, you made it?
Yeah.
You didn't steal something and just put your name on it? Wow. We're gonna have to think about that. That bulletin board or that paperwork has all kinds of little different pieces that they put together where they did some training for Kleine county stuff. So there's contesting, there's a link on that piece that will show, or maybe it's up here, that will show more stuff that's out there from technically, offline, temporarily offline, that has a great APRS piece on it. So there's a lot of good information to go chase it down. For those of you that the details, for the details of the information, you'll see the packets. We call it packet radio because we send a packet of data. Hams aren't very creative. This is the actual AX.25 UI frame format. And if you're a computer person, you'll know that Ethernet, the stuff we use to do all of this fun audio and video across the world, is all based on the X.25 protocol. Hams had the idea of doing this packet stuff, we turned it into computer stuff, so that's tightly integrated. But it's a real easy packet thing. If you put the little description up there, you can easily see that there's a destination address, so that's gonna be the call sign of the person that's there. Because it's going to. You look at the demo parts on the bottom, you'll see the middle one shows N8H-9 is the destination. And it's coming from APOT30, who that is, but they're getting the packet. The digipeater addresses tack on afterwards. In this case, there's WA6TOW-2, Y1, and K6FGA. So, and then more. So it's coming from WA6TOW-2. That tells you how the path was that was coming from the other guy to you. Control fields, some control data, protocol data we don't care about, and then the information field. So the data that comes through is the 256 bytes of data. And you can see it kind of in the pieces, says in service, RF and internet online, or just some gibberish data that means something to somebody, probably weather data. And then at the bottom is a person putting 146.5.2 and where they're at, the location that they're at. So that's the actual data that is going back and forth through the thing. Equipment's needed. Rob started the game off with it's getting more popular. Has anybody seen APRS coming up in these new recent radios? Anybody have a new recent radio? Radtel? Wayne's got one. What do you have, Wayne? Yaesu. Yaesu's got a lot of them. We'll talk about that in a sec. The Radtel, if you got one of those Radtel pieces, Anytone's got a lot of them. So you'll need some kind of transceiver, some kind of radio. These are the insides of current systems. Arduino Nano is a little computer based piece, or a little ESP, a little processor. The computer processor, you can put a little display on these devices. If you open up, there's a display. Most important for the people chasing vehicles is a GPS module. A light sensor or a temperature humidity sensor can be put in there so you can transmit all those. That's the inside pieces of those. The terminal node controller we saw on the repeater picture, that takes the audio and turns it into digital. GPS will tell you where you're at. Computer or mobile device with APRS software. Your phone, we'll hit it in a bit. Your phone can put on the device if you're an Android. And have a real phone, you can use APRS Droid for free. Just download APRS DROID, and that will let you play along as a amateur radio person. You will need to find out there's a little code that goes with your amateur radio call sign, and that will let you get on the network from a phone. Optional, you can do weather sensor and those other applications. This is the map. This is the map. If you went to APRS.fi, this is the one you'll see on your phone right now, or whenever I took the snapshot, but you'll see the actual stuff that's out there. Obviously, the mapping shows you
I gotta close it.
the areas that they are. We go kill an audio from some of these guys online.
Oh, there we are.
You go. So mapping shows where you're at, where you're going, where you need to be. Digipeater, this little star is a digipeater. So if you're going across country and you see that little star there, that is going to be a repeater. This one's out at our county tower, 72nd Highway 9, or 72nd and Alameda. So that's the one that we talked to. That's a digipeater. D-Star repeaters will put their location on the map. We've got a D-Star repeater at the Weather Center, W5TC. And it shows the big D, the big black D, diamond. So that will tell you where that location is to help you figure out where you're going, what you got. Weather stations, all these little, whatever they are, blue, purple dots that say WX on them. Those are all real live weather stations that, hams and others, doesn't have to be a ham. Goes to an APRS server that can come, put all this data together. But these are weather stations that you can click on and see what the weather is at their location. You know, if you're concerned about not being able to find something on the web, if your internet goes down, but you have access to the internet, if your internet connections go down to whatever you're thinking, whoever you use, Ventuski or weather service, these guys are still out there if you can get to APRS.fi. It's based out of Finland. So hopefully they'll stay up and running while we have storms. But these weather stations will let you pick up that data. And you will also see hams and AG5DV hotspot, that's Ed's. So that's where his station is. If that moves, you can follow him around. And N5KUK-7. N5KUK is the call sign. The dash after that is you can have many APRS stations. So if I have one in a car, it would be -7. If I have it in a house, it could be -5. If I have one at my office, it could be -6. That just keeps the different transmitters all separate. So you can have multiple systems and you know, put one in two different cars. You can see the two different cars moving around, make that happen. So those are the different characteristics of this. When you go. So the next slide, we'll show it, get it later. When you go to a complicated thing, you gotta look and pick those out. Clicking on any of those buttons, clicking on any of those stations, the homes or the digipeaters, will give you all kinds of information. It will tell you all the stuff that digipeater has heard, or that person has heard. You can check your signal against whatever's coming in. You just keep clicking forever. It's the scroll of doom on imagery. It's great. Applications of using this stuff. Why do we do it? Emergency communications is always the big thing. If the internet's out, anybody in the local internet area, the local area, I can transmit to anybody that can hear the Norman repeater. So it's easily emergency communications. Search and rescue operations. Are you guys using dog, Rob?
You use APRS.
You use APRS when you're out in an area where the cell phone needs you, which is not that far away. I was talking to Ed on the way out and lost signal 4 or 5 times on the way in. But search and rescue, you can do it for locating different people. They were talking about, did you ever put one on a dog?
Not APRS,
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Put a mesh tastic on them. The APRS you could put on the dog and you could chase that dog or wherever it is going around there. Public service events, we are using that at the marathon big time. Every bike race you probably see, every marathon that you see probably has some component of APRS built in. So you can keep track of what's going on. Weather monitoring, you can watch your neighbor's weather station, or you can put up a weather station that will monitor the thing and you'll see what's happening. Marine and aviation tracking, maritime aviation tracking. Those are on non-amateur radio frequencies, but there are sites that you can go to that pick up all of the airplanes that are flying, flight radar, or FlightAware, Flight Radar 24 are the airplane versions. And I can't remember the marine, remember whatever marine one is. You can watch, for instance, the Strait of Hormuz get really empty. You can watch when the Suez Canal got blocked by that ship. You'll see everything that's out there. They're using the same technology, but on commercial frequencies. Balloon tracking. We did a presentation here, I'll say a week or two ago. It's from a week or two ago, which is probably 4 or 5 years ago, where we did a balloon launch from here at OU with OU students. That on the very top is the balloon. That little wispy thing is the balloon that took off. And a huge shock cord down to a little bitty tiny transmitter. This probably about this big with a solar panel on it. And that was sending out APRS signals to the APRS network, both on 20 meters and on 2 meters. If this is a better picture, and if you had better eyesight, you'd see a 20-meter dipole hanging down from the bottom. It's really fine Teflon coated wire for that. So you could use it for the balloon folks. Anytime you see the balloon every time you see any balloon tracking, you will see it coming through on the APRS system. Remember the little dots and squares and weather stations? This is the path of that balloon as it took off from here. Took off, the year we did this, had terrible storms. Come on, Brian, get that out there. The path went from the local 2-meter pieces and then went to Nashville and then got silent. So the straight line that's drawn between there is just, we had a packet down here, and then the next location came up here to the ocean. There was a big storm that actually brought it down in St. Pierre. The student that did it was KI5OLS. That was the one who did it. The data path went through here on 20 meters, came in then on 2 meters for these local stations. So these local stations were the one that heard of. The 20-meter section on the top left, those are the stations that actually heard that balloon as it was going through that storm in the top area. So that little bitty tiny, whatever it was, 200 milliwatt 20-meter transmitter was able to connect to Alaska, to Africa, to Europe. So very good data quality. You can spend a lot of good data. And in this case, I think that transmitter cost us about 100 to 115 bucks after tariffs. God knows what it is now, but that got it moving. APRS software and tools. This is a typical day in Oklahoma City. There are some specific ones, W5EEZ. You can see him running around and came back. You can see the OCAPA, the auto patch machine, the .A2. They've put out a marker on that map so they can see where that repeater's at. Tom Webb is the light blue one here, running around W5AFM. And off they go. This is just showing you all the paths that happen throughout the day. What we're trying to do is when we were setting up for the marathon, we we're trying to see how much real activity was out there and how much we had coverage in all those areas. And for the marathon, it starts down here and runs up to Lake Hefner. So we were very happy. We got a lot of good coverage on that. It all happened. The software used, there's a piece of desk software called APRS ISCE/32. You really don't need that unless you're trying to get advanced work. If you're trying to put some of those little markers on the map. When we do the marathon, we put the little bed stations on there. That software you can program that software to pop stuff onto the map. Every 15 minutes, we put another dot in the same location. So it will show up, as it goes around, as it stays put, but it will show in that place. The APRS servers just call them a dot, and they hold on to it for about an hour in your last look. So if we do it every 15 minutes, we make sure that stuff stays there. So that's if you want to get advanced and you want to start putting stuff on the map. That's that APRS ISCE/32. You just leave that running, and once you get it programmed, off you go. You know, if you're trying to do a fox and hound deal, you can pop stuff out there. If you're doing a search and rescue kind of thing, you can take data from, let's say, Meshtastic, and you have a Meshtastic on your dog. You can take that data and use that software to actually put the information on the APRS menu. So you get very complex very quick. It's a little easy piece of software to make sure it works. Mobile system, here are the two you can do. We have Apple and iOS. APRS Droid is out there for the Android. If you want to go ahead and put it on there now, you can put it on and start playing with it. APRS.fi and something called Pocket Packet. I'm more familiar with APRS.fi. Yes, sir.
Does APRS Droid have a free version?
APRS Droid is a free version.
Let's call it up in, you know, I'm gonna show the $4.95.
Oh, is it $4.95 now? Okay. All right. They're up to make some money. I don't know if did they have a free one? Okay, I guess they're a $5 version. The Apple one is a $6, the APRS FI is a $6 one, and the Pocket Packet is a $4 one. I know those two, but Droid was free when I did it a long time ago. So those you can play along. You can put your call sign in, and you can actually, if I turn it on mine, it will start sending packets out over the internet, not over the radio, but over the internet. And it will place me on the map. So if you're going to APRS FI, you should see me on the map. With all these other guys that keep scrolling through.
Mark?
Yep.
So, cause I've got both of those on my phone, but I don't. So if I understand correctly, you go to APRS Droid, send your location from there. And then on APRS.fi, it'll show up on the map. Is that correct?
The question is, how do you use APRS? Is this Droid or using iOS or using Droid? Droid, okay. APRS Droid, there's an option that will say you can send your position. I need to send it right now. I'll send another one, and it will send that data out right now. I can have it track where it follows me out as I'm driving around. Droid has a map that you can bring up that will actually show you on the map. It's got a little map of the world kind of thing. It will show you the map of that same information that you can get off of the APRS.fi. So yes, you go watch it on APRS.fi. Or the Droid stuff has a map that you can do. Yes,
And
sir.
will the tracking continue to track as long as you have the app open, or how long does that track?
It will track as long as you have the app open and you still have battery. Because it will take you a little bit of battery. Or there's a button on the bottom that of that piece that will say stop tracking. So on the bottom right of this, it says stop tracking. So if I want to stop my tracking, I can hit the button and it shuts it off. And the others work the same way. The iOS works the same way.
So what benefit is it using your phone and not using your radio?
What's the benefit of using your phone and not the radio? Benefit of using your phone is I don't have to have a radio. A specific example is last year we went to on the marathon, we had this, I don't know, $100,000 donated vehicle that they had wrapped with everybody's name that was a runner. And I don't know how much that costs. Let's say it's $1 million. They were not real happy for us wanting to put a mag mount on the top of the car. even though that part wasn't, that part wasn't wrapped. But they didn't want us to put that piece on the car, so we put a phone in there. And the phone then did the tracking.
Location.
Right, so in that case, they didn't want a radio. In this case, I got my phone with me. But I don't have a radio.
Okay.
I mean, does that make sense? I mean, they will do the same thing. Technically, this is a radio,
Right.
not an amateur radio, but it's a radio.
You can, if you have one of the Bluetooth TNC radios out now, the D Pro, the 76, the Kindle D 74, 75. You can Bluetooth it to your phone and then you can use APRS Droid to control that. It'll still go out through the 144.39 or frequency is. Or if you don't have one of those, you can, and I've done it, you can hook a digital rig up USB-C and it goes to a mounting or same thing. But, so it'll be more than just sell over the stuff.
Right.
System.
So if you are in an area that, let's say you don't have your computer, but you want to control a radio, you can hook it to some of these, the Redtail I know does it. Some of these newer radios that have Bluetooth. So now you Bluetooth out, instead of taking the audio as true audio, it goes through the Bluetooth channel like a little earpieces. So it goes through the Bluetooth, comes in and out of that phone, and then transmits over the amateur radio. You can get really complex, really hurt, in a big hurry, and you can get lost even in a bigger hurry. And these newer radios are really making it crazy because you could, you do things that you don't know that you're doing. Where's Ed hiding? We did a bike race, a bike event for the MS folks. And just ready to sit down, ready to go, and all of a sudden over the repeater, we start hearing APRS tones. The analog voice repeater, we heard APRS tones. And it's like, oh, you know, who's doing this? What's the story? I didn't know the story, Ed did. He said, hold on. And he called out on the radio, who has what was it, Yaesu FT something, whatever it is. Who's got a Yaesu FT something? Some guy goes, yeah, I do. Okay. You dropped your radio, you're transmitting now the APRS on the channel B side on our repeater. Please turn it off. And he went, huh? I think Ed said, where are you? I'll come find you. And he went and fixed the beast. But we have seen it on the 06 repeater many times. I think that's why I really was asked to do this, is like learn how to use APRS. But we've heard on the 06 repeater many times. I've got a piece that will show the audio in a little bit. So you'll hear what it sounds like. But it's just audio. So if you put it over the radio, did you hear it in the storm the other night? Was there any APRS in the storm?
Surprisingly not.
Surprisingly not. Yes, we'll get calls all the time for people that say, oh, thanks. That say, oh my gosh, the repeater's broke, it's putting out digital stuff. No. Repeater's doing fine, thank you very much. Somebody is putting those tones over the repeater, so that's what my statements were earlier, were how do you get, the Yaesu does stuff that you don't think you are doing. These are just some of the few radios that I've seen recently that have added APRS, and are kind of stirring up the APRS furor. ATD 878, anybody got one of those? I'm sure you've all got, yeah. Have you tried APRS on it? It works? Job, yeah. So you're blasting out all the time, like when you're storm chasing, you use it?
Actually, no, but I mean, it works, I used it.
Okay. Yeah, it's like, oh, I gotta turn it on or I gotta turn it off. This RT Redtail 950 Pro, the Dwayne Angles radio of the month. I got one, oh, there you go. That one does APRS, and that's the one that, one of the ones that Rob was just talking about that does KISS protocol, keep it simple.
Actually, that one does do it, yeah.
Yes, it does. You just have to have the right firmware.
Okay, well, then that's new.
Yes, it is very new.
I thought they were gonna come out with.
I think it's out there, well, it's out there in test.
Okay.
The old ones won't do it.
Now, last time you read two boards, well, three boards
Will,
are not out yet.
yeah,
But the UV.
not everybody, they're out, but they're not
The
widely out.
VTech UV Pro and the Vero N76 is kind of right now the lower end of the, along with that Reticus HA2.
The Retivus HA2 and the VTech.
Yeah, HA2.
And they will do it, look at it. I will say, be very careful, because you can put it out over any frequency, and if you start putting it out over the repeater. The bad news is, if you're putting out tones, let's say you put it on the 06 repeater, you're not gonna hear the tones. You're gonna see your radio start transmitting, but you won't hear the tones. Literally seconds, milliseconds after you do that, there's gonna be 14 people on the repeater going, who's got tones in their repeater? Turn those digital things off. What are you doing? If you're not hearing the tones, it's you. So same thing for all of, it's gonna have more details later, but same thing for all the rest of the interference. If you're like our barking dog. If you don't hear the barking dog on the repeater, it's you. So chase that one down as well. That interference is the same as it is everywhere else. But the Bofang DM32UV, Yaesu, FTA, Yaesu's done this forever and good better, otherwise they have a lot of stuff that's up there. And the D-Star repeaters that do them. In addition, there's little things called tiny trackers, little tiny boxes that go through there. I don't, anybody know what the current ones are? You know, if you bought one currently, they change those gyrations every time. When the Bionics had one, that was out there, you can get things on the order of $150 or something to slide into your own vehicle. Remember, putting this in somebody else's vehicle without their knowledge is a federal crime. Don't do that. Don't be tracking bad guys. Hey, yeah, that's the cop's job, not yours, Jeff. He's out there sneaking a little magnetic laser on my car right now, you see it. APRS is a versatile tool for operators, it's a lot of fun. It lets you do real-time sharing and tracking and both hobby and emergency situations. So if you're chasing search and rescue, if you're chasing marathon people, bike race people, that's really cool. It's also kind of just fun just to watch yourself drive on a map. And, you know, once you get to a certain age, it's kind of cool. You go, oh, that's how I got here. Oh, that's
Oh, that's how I get back home.
Yeah. And the fun part is that I saw in this, I didn't see it until just when it was up here, the WA5 EEZ, he took off this way and then came back this way. So I don't know, it's either lost or he knows the neighborhood and can make the turns correctly and it saves you time. So you can learn all that kind of stuff. A lot of this stuff is kind of eaten up with cell phone information. You know, we're talking about 90s. How many people had cell phones in the early 90s? You had a cell phone in the early 90s? Wow. Did it do any of this? Oh,
No,
flip phone?
they were about this big too.
Yeah.
Backbone.
15 cents of the text, remember those days?
Yeah.
I had a guy bring me his cell phone goes, I got $600 worth of text on there. What does that mean? I said, it means your kid's got a phone. No. Yeah. I think $1,100 was the highest bill I saw for texting back in the day. Future of APRS, they're working now to do more integration with the satellite systems. So you can do packet delivery, use a digipeater in the sky kind of concept. So instead of the tower that's out here locally, you bounce the signal off of this the satellite in the sky, or do store and forward where you can put stuff up and say, okay, send this packet when you get over Germany, move it back down and comes back down and that kind of thing. So that's where they're going further on that. Improving mobile apps, they change those all the time. They get better. And then IoT and sensor network application. Bob Meyer, if you're wanting to play with that, Bob Meyer's got a really great setup for doing repeater temperatures, humidities, heat sink temperature, and then forward and reflected power. is what he's got the technology hooked up to make that all work. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you may have covered this.
I'm sure I did.
I may have been asleep or.
You probably were.
It may just be a simple question. So if you're doing APRS via your radio, you're limited to the footprint of the repeater, is that correct?
That is correct,
Okay.
unless you're using one of the fancy ones that, you know, have also a phone connected to it, but yes. If you're just doing a radio, that you have a walkie-talkie or a mobile.
Yeah.
You're limited to VHF to get some
So
coverage.
but if you're using APRS Droid, that's going over the internet, that'll track you.
If you're using APRS Droid, it will work until you run out of battery. Yes, that
But
goes,
over there, it will jump from ring.
pardon?
It could be digipeated
Yeah,
further than
digipeated,
just that.
yeah.
one.
Well, okay. That's the first connection. So your first connection would be to our digipeater, with your radio. Now, the digipeters are connected via internet or via radio to multiple sites. So you could bounce from here to Norman, to South Oklahoma City, to Amarillo, wherever it is.
But if I'm using my handy-talkie, my Yaesu handy-talkie, and I'm in far southeast Oklahoma,
Okay,
my handy-talkie only, chances are it probably won't track it out there.
If there's a digipeater down there, yes.
With an iGate, if it can hit an iGate somewhere.
Okay.
if you're trying to get back to this one here, yeah, it's just limited to the coverage for what we get. If you're, that's where you get more complex. If you get to a digipeater in McAllister, it will then bounce from McAllister either via the internet or via radio back here.
So if I'm if I'm traveling.
Yep.
You know, 3 or 4 hours southeast. It's tracking me, but it may lose that and then possibly pick back up once I get in range of that other.
I was actually on vacation to the Outer Banks. Nora was watching me travel.
Yes.
As I was going, because I was digipeating all the way I was going, but there's places I couldn't get into with any gas.
So that was my.
But then as soon as I got into the next
It picked
digipeater,
up, yeah.
it picked back up.
Okay,
So I don't know what your question was out of all of that, but
it got answered.
okay. It gets complex in a hurry.
Yeah.
But the big thing is, we're all on 144.39, so you don't have to do anything as you drive around. There may be other stuff in a weird area. And I'll just use the example that, you know, my gosh, I'm not gonna be on Larry's network, I'm gonna start my own on 144.38. Which
By
now,
yourself.
yeah, with me, myself and I. And there may be some others that are out there, but there's maybe some other frequencies, but APRS by convention is 144.39.
And the nice thing about that, that's pretty much nationwide. So if you're traveling into that area, you can know that there are digipeters in that area, it's set to 143.9. You don't have to have any frequency to get into it.
Right. And, you know, for an example, DMR kind of stuff, if you're using a DMR radio and you go from here to Kentucky, you've got to change that frequency of that DMR, as you go through to get those different ones, but this, is all in one piece. So for you driving around the state, you fire one up, you should be able to hit Tulsa when you get to a certain part.
So, again, this is a simple question. So if I put APRS.NY on my wife's phone.
Yes. Why would you do that?
But she can track me that way if she wants.
Yes.
And why would I want to do?
She's already got a $30 a month due date underneath the bumper. No, but yeah, that's, and anybody, you know, at that point, I can track you. You can actually go on, if you go online, you can say, hey, I know this is the call sign N5HZR-5, and it will just track me. Kind of sounds stalker, but Ed had a comment the other day, said, great, all these people that joined because they want to be out in the woods and have the post office box listed. So they don't have people find them by their call sign, now want to have GPS precision systems putting them on the internet. It's like, well, Ed, when you say it that way, it doesn't sound as cool as the other stuff. But yeah, that's that piece. I'm gonna try to grab this, see if I grab this audio. And when I play it, The goal here is, oh, now I know what that is. So if you hear it on the repeater, you will see or hear what it is. See if I got audio cut out here. Little pockets. You'll hear alternate ones. They're two different radios, so you might hear a different or volume between those two. You know, real noisy ones actually get through it, you know. Real noisy ones actually get through, you know, there's circuitry that pulls that stuff out. But that's the noise. Anybody heard that on 06? Oh, yeah, we're thinking, hell yeah. And the problem is, and what we've done in the past is hooked up radios with receivers, with computers to decode that and find out who it is. It's like, oh, it's Billy Bob again. I can't remember a bad guy, so that's good. I can't use the call sign that I know is an offender. But we've had multiple ones, and you know, it's been everything from people that are coming into the postal training center as guests, and they had their radio set up at home for APRS and forgot, screwed it up when they got here. To people that knew better, and well, I thought it'd be work better on the repeater. You just annoyed hundreds of people all over the place, and you caused Ed about 14 hours of looking through audio tapes. But that's the noise it is. If you're hearing it, that's not you. You know, go and feel free to say something. You know, don't need to be berating anybody. But if you hear something, say, hey, I'm hearing APRS tones on the repeater, because whoever's fouled up, let's say it's me, whoever fouled up, I'm not gonna hear that. I'm just gonna hear nothing. And then the, you know, my radio transmitter light would have come on, but I'm too busy to pay attention to that. So feel free to get in there and just say, hey, I hear some APRS tones on them. And that may help something else. Ed will talk about it later, but we've had a number of situations that when mentioning stuff, the problem just disappears. And there's some guy, gal, in their bedroom, in their car going, where's that off button? Run around trying to turn on stuff that they know it's them. So be very careful with that. Any other questions, comments, stuff? Our repeater is the big one in the area. We take a lot of traffic on that repeater. We pass traffic from here to North Texas and back. It's a very good system. It's a very neat system to go chase down. You can decode this on an SDR if you're looking at SDR, software defined radio. One of those, you could say $20, but they're what, $40 now after taxes, after tariff. Those little SDR software defined radios you can plug in your computer. They will actually decode those packet transmissions. If you have the right plugins to make all that stuff happen. I will stop by saying Elmer night, Tuesday nights is a great night to come talk about it. That N5LCL guy sitting in the back. He's known.
That's not me.
He knew a lot of stuff at one time, let's put it that way. I don't know what he knows now, but. But it's out there. I've still got a stack of packet radios that I used in the past, but these new guys are coming in. You may have a radio that does it, you have no idea. Just one of those features that gets added. Anything else? Nothing else? Thank you all, appreciate it very much.
Sir, let's take about 10 minutes and then we'll keep going with the meeting. Get started about 10:35.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, is that a good?
That was sweet.
What?
You know, when you.
And I've got that all figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. I enjoyed that.
That's all worth the drive up. Yeah, that was
Well, you can do it. And then, if you don't like it, that's the You have battery. I have to. That was. Where he said. I remember. It's like a year later.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody said, yeah. Yeah, we're still chugging. Yeah.
I didn't hook it up to.
Okay, well. And not hard to do.
Yeah, no bad.
Yeah.
I wonder,
Yeah. Very nice. A lot of fun, you know.
yes. Or wait,
Sure.
yeah. So I want to build some antennas. I have built it 20 years.
Yeah.
I want to test it. I didn't want to hook it up without, you know.
Okay. Well,
You're better off where you said.
I have one.
Okay, that's, I figured you did.
Come right on.
they've been, I'm sure it's seen by, one was placed and also by implication. But, you get dollar free here. And then, you know, that two, and the, well, the back up is $20.
Okay. So that's the idea. So then I can tune in on that.
Yeah.
Well, that's not.
Just hold it. That's hopefully. Have some of the blood work, but all the
How are you, sir? So in your NAPRS, that's right about that.
Yeah, but,
I've got it.
The new ones are. That's when it gets, it starts to age, it's crack, back up. Several of the other
I didn't know.
Right next to you.
They have.
Yeah,
I get back. I hear it. I hear
it does cover which is fine. Ninety-nine percent of what I would do.
All right, we'll go ahead and find our seats. We'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah. Oh, there's
All right, and good morning, everyone. We will get started with introductions, so let's start on this side today. Mark Kleine.
Mark Kleine, N5HZR. Mark Clayton, N5HZR. Yeah. Chris, K5JZM.
Mike, taking 5
Denny, WH6BKD.
Con, KJ5HFN.
James, KJ5HFM.
Gary, KJ5FQP.
Charles, KI5BTQ.
Bill, AE5F. Al, AE5L.
Jeff, KD5CKA.
Hey. David, KI5QMF.
Galen, WX5MOR.
P35KH.
David, KD5SOF.
Daniel, you're the Charlie 5 Lima Uniform Romeo.
Don.
KJ5 and VM.
Candace, 85 years one.
Yep. KJ5.
Candace, KJ5IJD.
David, KJ5IJC. Ron, K5RJO. Ken, K8WGE. Larry, W5LHG.
Scott, KJ5ARB. Margaret, KJ5AH.
Ethan, K5
David, K050. KJ5 is not.
James, KJ5LXB.
Mary, no call sign, but chauffeur for this one.
Ian, PC19,
I'm Wayne, KK5IO.
Ed, AG5DB.
Jonathan, KJ5OLD.
And on Zoom, Mark, can you see? Sorry. Got Mike, HXT, Dave Long. KI5UQU, Steve, K5BYB, Mark Klein twice. And Ryan, K9TWF, I think I got everybody. And again, I'm Rob, N5ATG. All right. Well, as most people probably know by now, the club has lost a couple more members since our last meeting. Lauren Green, N6CLA. And Lee Greenleaf, W5HLG. Those two compete very often. So, unfortunately, with a group this size, that's going to happen. But it's still a big loss for the group. Today, Mark will have Lee's last call that we do here for the club. Lauren's had a little bit of a technical problem, so we will have it for the next meeting, the main meeting. But before we get to that, Mark will do our moment of silence.
Every month I mention that in the area, in the region and across the country, as well as now our own club, which kind of brings it home. That we need to remember all the hands that's been lost and that we lost on it, Silent Key. Just remember in a club this size, we do have quite a few members that senior members, members of our club that we need to check on periodically. You know, give them a call on the phone, don't necessarily on the radio because they may or may not be on. Give them a call or go by and say hi. You know, check on them, see if they need something. Because you never know. You'll talk to them one day and later in the week you'll find out that they're not around anymore. So we that kind of, you know, that hits home. So yes.
I just want to interject. I did talk to Lee probably a few days before the pass. And he did want me to tell everybody hello. And he was so appreciative of anybody that would talk to him. You know, so what you're saying is spot on.
See, it does pay off. You go to talk to, our Elmers that don't get out much. Go by and say hi, check on them, see how they're doing. So let's take a minute and remember all of the hands that we've lost this year. Okay, thank you.
Whiskey 5, Hotel Lima Golf, this is W5 W5HLG, this is W5N45. For your years of amateur radio service, Whiskey 5 Hotel Lima Golf, Lee Greenlee. You may be gone, but you will not be forgotten.
Thank you, Mark. And also, thanks to Ken this morning, he brought me a copy of Lou's obituary. That's St. Thomas More, University Parish here in Morton. So thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. All right, and again, we will have Lawrence last call next month. So, all right. Let's go to the secretary minutes, Chris, if you're ready. Yep.
Well, last month, we had 42 members in person and 4 via Zoom. The program was Severe Weather Situational Awareness Tools by Brett Shaw. We have our monthly moment of silence, and then the meeting minutes, the treasurer report were read. BE report, we had 3 new technicians from the Hammond Day Force. And from the regular session, we had 6 new technicians and 3 upgrades general. The core ARRL, the Alpha Scene Fest was March 28th, Green Country is last weekend. And holidays being moved from OCCC to the Cleveland County Event Center here in Norman. Planning on having food trucks available for that. And the Friday part of the event, it will be longer than just the evening. Making it more of a 2-day event, July 24th and 25th, 2026. Panorama set in Ardmore for October 24th. Memorial Marathon is next weekend. Technician class was going pretty good. They had 15 participants as of last meeting. They just wrapped that up beginning this month. And Mark had been asked to give a presentation to the Church of Latter-day Saints
because they have a large emergency response group and are sponsoring an emergency preparedness summit. And Tech committee, they had an issue with someone accidentally cross-banding the UHF and VHF repeaters during a severe weather event for a short time. Probably why Ed is bold, like me. New business, April potluck scheduled for after the club meeting, but a vote was made to move it this past Elmer night. Mark discussed preparations for field day 2026. They're gonna need assistance with setting up from 8 AM to 1, operating from 1 PM Saturday to 1 PM Sunday, and tear down from 1 PM until it's all gone. Planning on 3 stations of digital CW and voice. If you have any questions, contact Mark Clayton. Motion was made by Rodney to donate $150 to the free expedition that Jeremy's gonna participate in. It was seconded by Mike Woods, and the vote passed unanimously. And from the announcements, if you have any ideas for presentations, let one of the club officers know. Jeremy Cockman is doing a de-expedition to Marquez Islands and this month as TX9W. Rob informed the club that there's a new analog 2-meter repeater just north of a spell. More details are going on once that one is finished. Elmer night, Tuesday night from 6:30 to 9 here at the fire station, and with that, the meeting ended at 11:20.
Thank you, sir. Larry, BE report. Right.
Profit loss. Had a net income of $299.13 last month. And, so in the checking account, we have $3,278. Savings, 26,203. And petty cash, 242. For a total of 29,724. Anyone have any questions? Sub dues have been due for several months. They're due at the first year. We do take credit card, cash, or check here in the building. And it's $25 a year.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Turn the barrel.
Yeah.
The BE report is technically.
Fun part. Okay, with the BE report, as you can see, we had quite a few new amateurs and upgrades. This last time, this was the session at the National Weather Center, and we do have a couple of those here, or they were here. When Amanda was here. And me and you're here, at least you say you're here. So by all means, congratulate those when you see them, but it was definitely a busy night. It was a good one. Our next upcoming session will be on May 7th, depending whether it's good, but you know, what else can you do? So, if you're ready for your upgrade, come see us. For the tech report, this is gonna be the fun one. Okay, so we first had a mention of the April 3rd weather net. I know it's kind of hard to say with all this weather going on, we have to go back a little ways. And there was a report of the repeater audio might have dropped out. I've gone through and listened to all of that data, which if you really want to have a hobby, go listen to an hour or so. It was fine. And what we have is, there's no evidence that audio dropped out, but during this 87-minute net that Mike led, who got less than full reports, we had theater transmissions 62 times. So we don't have audio dropouts. We have people who are simply keying out. So we've got a couple things at play here. Some of them you can tell if you have they have a crossbanding setup that could be odd and off. And if my experience in crossbanding, I learned on a Kenwood VM 71A, and I can tell you that at that time they were the only company putting out handhelds, mobile radios, and actually crossbanding, and I need both ways. When you get out all these new handhelds and stuff to do crossbanding, it does not mean the way you heard Jeff implement them, that's the way it's implemented on that handheld. Everybody really implements it in a different way. So if you think you know you're crossbanding properly, if you have doubts, if you have any doubts, you need to come ask somebody at overnight, work on it, help us do that, because again, you will not know if you've got the problem. Secondly, if you follow the SEC proceedings, you know that there is an amateur who actually, I forget what state he's in, but they had a thing called amateur audio relay. Now, I know we have people running audio relay here locally, because Mike and I have both been victims of this. Last fall, beginning of the fall, I was doing a siren net when I would unkey and then have the audio that I just transmitted back at the top. It will really mess you up, because you're like, what? That happened several times, and then I'm assuming the person who was running it might have figured it out and turned it off. Mike had this happen 2 weeks ago on Tuesday night when we were doing the APRS net out of here. So don't forget, it's an amateur audio relay options on some of these new handhelds. It does it automatically. So if you've got that option set on, it is going to do it whether you want it to or not. It will it hears audio on that, it's going to then turn around and retransmit it. If you're doing it on a repeater frequency, it causing havoc on the repeater, please stop. But there's also no good reason being keying up 62 times during an 87-minute net. If you don't know your radio is going to work from your emergency location, that's why we have net during the week, and Tuesday the APRS net, so you can go to your location, and it works. Also, don't forget that if you key up, you're supposed to actually like call sign, while the FCC gave it to you. So please don't sit there and just key up. I think part of this is probably on there, but I would hope that we don't have so many people listening to there that are amateur radio licensees who are keying up and chunking the computer 62 times in 87 minutes. That's one per chunk every 1.4 minutes. Mine sure doesn't want to hear it. And it's also confusing to the emergency management people who were listening and wondering why is there an audio problem here? We're not hearing anything. You know, it's odd. So please, that was the whole problem with it. So no problem there.
That also gets the radio turned down real quick.
Yes, because that's why I normally don't, I won't even turn it on and listen to it. Luckily, I can record without having the volume turned up. But it's one of those things where it's obnoxious, what you say. So other than that.
Fast, it's not.
Yes. So other than that, 06 seems to be running well. We did have one report, which is kind of interesting, because we got David Gates, your audio conversation with one of the amateurs, your friend Evan Case on KCY, got cross-banded onto 06 one morning. I think Denny caught it early on in the morning, where you hear David talking to his friend on KCY on Wires X. So, yeah. So, odd thing, but watch your cross-banding. Again, this is why we always say this. There are cases to use cross-banding. Most of the cases that people are doing are not those cases. And the potential for interference can get very complicated and real quick. So if you don't know what you're doing, if you have questions, better safe than sorry. Active ask, you know, other than that, hear David talk to his friend, but you can respond. So, anything else?
Well, and that could or could not have been David's doing.
Yes, he probably had.
I had no idea about it until like a week later, somebody said, or 2 days later, somebody said something, I'm going, like what?
But what repeater tied to wire text, so that's been a crossband computer.
Right,
Absolutely.
but it doesn't have to be the guy you're hearing.
Right.
So don't get mad at the guy you're hearing, it may or may not be that person.
Yes. Well, I guarantee he probably was religious for whole thing.
I was shocked, especially since I'm gonna see for a family across the Reagan
Yeah.
and log repeater.
I'm kind of curious how they did it. But, you know, but other than that, repeater's been doing fine. We have more storms coming because it's that time of year. So your hands off the radios.
Let the kerchunking begin.
And actually, you can tell, because in the afternoons, around 2 p.m., when the weather channels start mentioning it, the Kerchunky ratio goes way up. I start hearing the machine constantly, with people keying out. So, if you're an amateur, let's use your call sign.
But it could be a guy who bought a radio at Walmart, but
Yes. It could be. Of course, they had a program in the computer. Yeah.
there are some surprises I have on him who have no vision.
The license answers have down things, and for some reason they have our code flag already.
Oh. Well, and also, kind of along with what Ed was talking about, if you think that there's a problem with one of the repeaters, the more data that Ed has, the better it is to figure out what that is, because, and we're talking about RF, right? So a lot of things can happen between the transmitter and the receiver on your side. So if you've got audio recordings, the type of equipment that you were using, the time of day you were using it, obviously the date, that helps him quite a bit, try to narrow down what that might be, so.
And you can imagine what would happen if you had two individuals running audio relay. Picture that nightmare. Because, you know, hope, I don't think he had that up to speak, otherwise my. You would have less here.
we gotta try that. Oh, you gotta try that.
Yeah.
Do the Muppet song.
A to B and here.
Yes. All right. Any questions for Ed? Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Mr. Klein, back up to the front.
No, that's right.
Or at AWR.
Cora, Cora is the Central Oklahoma Radio, repeater, radio amateurs, that's us. And we do the Amp Fest for Oklahoma City and Ardmore. So if you're looking for something to do in end of July and end of October, we got you covered. Thank you. Everything's going well on both of those. It did move to Norman from Oklahoma City, so I expect you all to be there. Look at you. No, it should be a good time. Last weekend, we had a Hamfest in Tulsa, no, Green Country, Claremore, Oklahoma. And it was a great event. Who went to the Claremore Fest? Oh, look at that. Good job. I didn't even see a couple of you. I saw you. They had, I don't know, probably 700 or so hams and a bunch of tables and a lot of good programs and a lot of cool stuff there. So the Ham Fest is a good thing to go to if you have the chance. We have 9 in the good great state. Yes, Mr.
They couldn't find the grand prize winners to redrawing today, so don't throw away your ticket. Had your raffle.
Said they couldn't find the winner of the grand prize, so they're redrawing the ticket today. How do you get lost in 1994? What are we?
The person who submitted the ticket didn't put a name, didn't put an address, they just submitted the ticket. And
Oh, an empty ticket?
But nobody claimed it, so.
Oh, here's a hint, draw 3 at one time, so that in case that happens, you have 2 more spares to back on. But it was a good deal, they gave away a ton of radios. Mark Clayton and I went to the Oklahoma DX Society meeting that was held on site. And we got to see Jeremy, is he here? No? Jeremy, he might have gone. They're going to Marquesas Island, that Tango X-ray de-expedition. Where's Marquesas? Anybody know where it's at? Nobody? It's out there in the ocean somewhere. It's homework, go find it. But we did give $150. They were very appreciative of that. Those things cost a ton of money. They fly out, they bring equipment, they do all kinds of stuff, but they're a lot of fun. And I'm hoping that when Jeremy gets back, we'll get a presentation from him. Or he's not getting any money. But I'm sure we'll do a good job. I talked to him and his wife when they were both there. And they were both there. They had a great speaker from New Jersey area. And one of the great big DXers, Al, on that piece. So DXing's alive and well. If you're interested in VHF stuff, if you want to do VHF distance stuff, the middle of June is going to be the ARRL VHF contest. And we, as in Oklahoma people, have Randy Wing out of Boeing, that is the national winner every dadgum year, unless he lets one of his buddies win. So these guys are the ones with the porcupines, it is. I blamed it, they said you gotta sit on the couch and have somebody else win. He said, well, no, sometimes I just don't try as hard. And Marcus up there wins as well, but it's a really cool contest, you can join from your house. As they go by the area, you can jump on VHF, UHF, we'll have more of that later, but if you wanna get involved, more details, oh, there's Marcus, it's all good for you. Where's it at? Did you find it? There it is. Jeremy Conklin, there he is, N5HZR, that's our guy, we're here. Oh, Craig Boyer's going on there, oh, cool. Jeff Martin is the president of OKDX, or was the president of OKDX, so, two Oklahomans, two cool guys. So, all of that stuff is available if you wanna do that VHF contesting. We intend to, during that VHF contest period, have people up at the National Weather Center with the 200-foot antenna and the great big log periodic antenna. So if you want to do some contest VHF stuff, you're welcome to come join, do shifts up there. They will drive vehicles in and, it's a contest, so if they're sitting in a certain grid square, they get a point when you talk to them. Well, if we have 10 people on the microphone there, they get 10 points for that connection. They move across the line to a different grid square and they can do all 10 again. They move another across the line, they can do it again. So they get tons of points that way if we help them set it up. And it's a really cool way to learn how VHF is more than just your talkie to go 20 miles, 10 miles up to the repeater. Denny, how many states have you worked off 2 meters?
42 or 46 in it.
46 states he's worked off 2 meters.
Direct.
Direct. Not a repeater, not anything, not driving his butt to all 46 states. Sitting on his couch, we've worked 46 different states. And how many watt radio would that be, Denny?
30 to 50.
30 to 50 watt radio. So VHF's got a whole bunch of other things. Mike?
Arcasis is somewhere between California and Australia out in the middle of the ocean.
Somewhere in there.
Not quite halfway, but you can hear that.
Yes, it is. That might not be good enough direction to fly there, but it's a good idea. It can get us close. So we got a lot of cool stuff going on. HOA thing, if you're following that, we sent the first batch to the subcommittee. 4,000 letters. We just sent 27,000, I think it was, to the committee of our amateur radio folks that on the letters. Some of those guys got a 16-inch stack of letters that showed up on their desk. Hi, these are your constituents. They would like to talk to you. That thing is still moving on. As always, government is just crazy. Anybody else, anything else we missed? We gotta go with Elmer 9, see you Tuesday. Thank you. Thank you.
Let's go ahead and run through our nets. Mike, you wanna mention the DMR net, the Cleveland County Aries net, and maybe something, or anything somewhere?
Okay. Keep me in line if I forget.
I'll try.
Okay, on Monday nights at 8:15 PM, we have the Aries, Oklahoma Aries DMR net. It's on top Route 3140 and we're usually having anywhere between 20 and 30 check-ins every Monday night, and they're all over the United States and sometimes out of the country. On Tuesdays at 8 PM, we have the Oklahoma Aries net, Cleveland County Aries net, and that's on our top, well, not top there, but on the 060 machine. And again, we have good turnouts on that. That's a good way to test your equipment and see if it's working without for chunking. We'll see on Mondays at 8 PM, we have the 6 meter net on the frequency 50.200. And there's not a lot of people on there, but we're trying. So if you have a 6 meter capability, check us out at 8 PM.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Denny. There, the magnet and the gossip net, please.
The magnet is every morning at 9 o'clock, except Sunday. And come join us and check in. It's been about 35 people in there averaging. And have a good time. And it gets a lot of up and out of bed, I think. And yeah, Gossip Net as on the Tuesday night at 8 o'clock or 8:30, right after the APRS Net. And again, you can get on there and talk about anything you want to have a good time. And thank you very much.
No problem, thanks, sir. School back inside. David, you talked about our Kleine County APRS Net at breakfast evening.
We had the Kleine County APRS Net on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock on 442 400. I look at it all the time. I don't remember what the frequency is. You lock it, you forget it. It's a check-in net where anybody's welcome to join in. We have people from different parts of the city and different parts of the state. We even have one from Topeka, Kansas that checks in. So we have some people coming in through the YSF reflectors, so they get into the net. And on Wednesdays mornings at 8 o'clock, we meet at Jimmy's Egg in Newcastle for breakfast. Mostly light breakfast and a lot of talk. So if anybody happens to be around, come by and see us. We enjoy the company.
Thank you very much. And also on the Kleine County APRS Net, if you ever want to practice sending radiograms over the air, we give that opportunity. So, and they don't go beyond that. So it's just, there's no, just practice. You can mess up, we do. So it's kind of a neat opportunity to do that. Has there been any 10-meter activity anybody know of? I don't know if we got anybody consistently getting on 10 meters. I mean, I'm sorry.
W5C at the OU really starts that 10-meter net.
Okay, all right.
So that'll be good.
All right, well, let us know whenever that gets, and then we'll try to focus on those. So, Ethan, why don't you talk about the K5UGO?
So every Thursday evening at 8 on the Stars UHF computer, we have the K5 UGO Memorial Net. And that is, I believe it's similar to the Gossip and 2-round net. One for checking, one for. Well, talking. Anyway, not a whole lot of people checking into that one, so it's a cool place to go if you wanna have another net on the list, but yeah.
Wait, sorry, no. People can stand up again. It's not getting harder, I promise, a little bit better days. Okay, today's announcement quickly is that Norman is not testing. Today is the spring game, so they will be silent. So if you're going to listen to the net, it's gonna start a few minutes later, because normally we use the Norman portion of the net to let the more sirens wind down and everything else. So Wayne's running the net today, and then most likely he'll be starting 2 or 3 minutes after the hour, give him a chance to wind down. It's kind of hard to talk over the sirens. Other than that, we're always looking for volunteers. We've had many move out, if not pass away on us. So when it comes down to sirens, don't forget, Norman's at 69, Moore's got 44. Newcastle has more than 99. And I think Noble now has 7. So we have an increasing number of sirens. At that time of year, we need some people, especially I know Moore's. We've had a bunch move out of Moore and probably passed away over the last couple of years. We need volunteers. So if you're in Norman today, you're just dying to hear a siren. Get out and go Moore. So, any questions about the siren nets? Yeah. We have all these meteorology people not looking at you, man. However, don't forget, these are weather sirens, right? Out warning sirens.
All right, thank you, sir. Any questions on nets? Anything we're forgetting? Anybody want to add anything there? All right.
DMR, Monday DMR.
Yeah, he mentioned that one.
Okay.
Yep, Mike mentioned that one.
Who?
Mike. Oh, that guy. Okay, on old business, the only thing I really had was to ask Mark if there's anything new on field day that he wants to talk about this month.
I've been doing a little research on past years' field days. And not just our club, but clubs across the country. What they do, what they learned, what they did differently the next year. One of the biggest problems all these clubs have is participation. We just need, when we set up the different modes we're gonna do, like we have 3. We need people to help, not just starting at 1 o'clock on Saturday to say 5, and then everybody runs off. That's still going. After 5 o'clock, it runs till 1 o'clock the next day continuous. So that's overnight. And we need people to help do those 3 modes that were set up for it. So it would be helpful that some of you, if you don't want to come like mid-afternoon, that's fine. Come in the evening, have stay from like 6 in the evening till say 10 o'clock at night. And run for 3 or 4 hours. Some of you like late nights, you like to be up late night. I know Ian back there, he probably has at least half a dozen people he knows that likes to stay up all the night. Well, you know, those people need to be up here running those modes during the night, between 10 PM and 6 AM. When people start showing up again with their coffee and wanting to start. So that's the big thing, is think about helping for those 3, all, you know, for the full 24 hours. Because when it's not a contest, but you want to have people working it. You know, when they had that real bad hurricane that come through North Carolina and the Appalachian area. They had people on those nets 24/7. Always, they never shut down, they never took a break from them. Well, that's why we do the field days, we're preparing for those type of situations. So that's why we need to continuously run and not just leave one of the modes sitting there for 2 or 3 hours. Okay, keep that in mind, and next month, I'll have some sheets and stuff, if you wanna sign up for different times. We're not gonna lock you in, but that kind of gives us an idea how many people we're gonna have during that time slots. I'm talking not every hour, I'm talking 10 PM to say 2 AM. Or 2 AM to 6 AM, whatever. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Any questions right now on field day for Mark? It's gonna be here before you know it. Kind of like what happened with the marathon, got here before we do it.
Christmas, Easter.
I don't know of any new business, anybody, go.
So if you are interested in a CERT class, City of Moore will be hosting one of those. It is 20 hours of learning things that you should have learned in the Boy Scouts. Disaster operations, light search and rescue, medical, that kind of stuff. If you're interested, City of Moore residents get first choice at it, but if we don't fill the class up with more, everybody else is welcome to. The classes will be Tuesday and Thursday nights, beginning April 28th and running through May 14th. Yes, you have to go to all 6 classes to get credit for it. But the registration is online at cityofmoore.com.
All right, thank you. What time, Gail?
Who would? 6 to 9 or something like that.
Okay. Okay, a couple of announcements. Mark Kleine has most of the equipment that belonged to Lauren. And his family's wanting to sell that. He will have that on Elmer night, next Tuesday, here. So if you're interested, he has several HTs, some Yaesu, VHF, UHF, HF kind of equipment. Do you want to talk more about that, or do you?
Yes, I'll be happy. The starts with a FTDX 10. Is that a Yaesu? I'm gonna Yaesu guy. Okay, 2 or 3 radios, 819, all that kind of stuff. Some 1 or 2 antennas, vertical antenna kind of pieces. That I have. It will be, all the pictures will be on the Facebook right after the meeting. And it'll be on a Facebook page with all the pictures that are there. On the Scars face, yeah. I'll start Scars Facebook page. If you want to go look at those items, our goal here is to raise money for his wife. They, if you may or may not know, they built a huge 8x10 gorgeous shack in his backyard, fully air conditioned, all that stuff. Pulled the radios out, and 10 days later he passed away. So these radios, most of these radios still have the original ties on them, haven't been plugged in, are brand new. So if you're looking for cheap deals, this is gonna be the place. What we're wanting to do is get as much money as we can out of the deal. So if you're looking for some of these radios, and you don't want to pay shipping and that kind of stuff, that's what we're looking for out of these sales. There's probably 4 or 5 handhelds, 2 HF radios and a couple VHF, UHF mobile pieces, toolkits, all kinds of crazy stuff, toolkits, all the stuff that filled this out. Literally, it all showed up, and 10 days later he was gone. Or he got to use it for 10 days, or open it 10 days, and then 10 days later after that he was gone. So, we were happy to help that nice family out and get it set up. I'll tell you that, I've done a lot of these things that I get to go talk to those folks. This one was one of the toughest ones because I was in there in that new little room. Jane was taking care of their 4-year-old grandson. And as I was picking stuff out, the grandson kept coming in and saying, "Grandpa, we need to," and Grandpa's no longer there. So she got to explain that to a few times. So, man, yeah, that was a tough one to go pick up, but we'll have it all ready to go. Tuesday we'll have it. If you see something on the internet, on Facebook, let me know, we'll take care of it. And then we'll get it going. So what I'm gonna do is list new price, if you went to someplace and bought it at a decent price, with the new prices in, we can see what we need to do tonight. So thank you very much.
Also, before the meeting, Ron brought me a printout that, Roden Schwartz is gonna have a 1-day RF fundamental seminar in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma City at the Embassy Suites on Tuesday, May 12th from 8 to 4. It looks to be, it says this event is complimentary with lunch and refreshments provided. So you have attended this, correct?
Yes, I have. That's really good.
It's good. It's a good event. So if anybody wants some information, I've got the.
There were 3 other hands on the class that day that I was there.
There were 3 other hands that day you were there. So if you're interested, I've got the email printed out right here, if you'd like to take a look at it, so. Appreciate it.
Bring $500,000 to take one of those.
That's true, if you want one of their pieces of test equipment, it's no longer complimentary, right? All right, but thank you, Ron, appreciate you bringing that in. Does anybody have any other announcements that they know of? Yes, sir. Marathon, did we talk about the marathon?
No, we did, no.
Well, you didn't talk about the marathon?
No, we did.
And I was kind of asleep.
Yeah, I did. I must have been asleep. Marathon's coming up 24th, 25th. Our magic night is Monday night, 7 o'clock is the meeting at the Oklahoma City Fire Training Center. Go around back of the fire training center and you'll see all the nerd antennas standing up, and that's all of us. We will have an option to do this on Zoom. At that piece, you'll get all the message here this afternoon about more details and all that good stuff. It will list everything, everything that you're assigned to. If you were there in the past, you've worked with your lieutenants. What's his name? Mike? Yeah, Mike, yeah, that guy. No, I really haven't. He's a good guy though. I've been told that he's a really good guy. Mike and Rob are 2 of the division areas. So if you've worked with them in the past or somebody else, they have placed you in the same spot. Should you wish to change, we're open to change. We just got to negotiate. I'm sure we get everything covered on Monday evening. Last year we did a
whoo, go find a spot and take it. And then this time we've got it all documented, so we put you in the same spots. There's a video that will be there that will show you how to set up and tear down the tents. It will show you how to do all that stuff. Somebody videotaped it, I'm not sure who, that maybe somebody listens a lot to radio recordings. I don't know. But it did a really good job. There's two things. One is I learned a bunch of stuff while we recorded. It was like, we don't have that. We don't have an emergency plan. And the director said, yeah, every med tent center has a storm shelter available for it. Huh, I've been doing this for a long time. I never knew that. But they put together a little book and there will be a little book that's a new thing for those of us that were in the past and have not seen that little book. But you may learn something if you've done it 100 times. My favorite is that Nick Chafee, the guy that handles all the setup, he set up the tents. He set up the tables in a way that makes really good sense, but I've never seen it done that way in practice. So when we set up tables, you may want to look at that because that was really different for me. And if you're a newbie, it'll give you a good idea what you're looking at. So you don't have to understand everything. There's not a test. The old seasoned person will be able to help you out on that stuff. We've got tons of people. We have 25 people signed up for Saturday, which is a kids race. I've never seen that many people sign up for a Saturday thing. And I panicked at the last meeting and I said, look, we got 25 people showing up. And found the gal in charge of the kids race people. And she says, you have 25 people? Yeah, we will put you to use. So they have all kinds of stuff. If you're a Saturday person on the kids race, they've got stuff lined up for us to do. Other than that, if you have any questions, feel free to give me a holler. You'll get some stuff later today to detail it out. Monday night we'll hit it. There'll be a Zoom option on that piece as well. And then Saturday, Sunday, so at 6 AM on Sunday. Saturday is a later call. It's 8 o'clock there for the kids race is what that has to be. Other than that, we're good. Thank you. Thank you all for help.
Thank you for there at 6 o'clock on Sunday.
Well, that's fun. Well, I can say this, I will say this, so last year was my first year. Ethan and I were in the car leaving Blanchard, we were actually still in Blanchard. And Bill had mentioned before, he was gonna start that at 6, well, he was starting a little early and calling for people, finding out where they were at.
Yeah.
I heard my call sign about 4:40 while I was in the car, because I happened to have the radio on there already. So, and I'm like, did he just call my call sign at 4? So I went back to him and he's like, I'll mark the green. I'm like, well, I'm not there yet. But anyway, so it's an early day.
Yeah.
It's an early day to get set up and get everything.
I was did the same things coming up over Crossroads Mall and I heard the net and it was like, wait a minute. I'm early and you're nuts.
Yep, but it's a fun day. Also, did we mention all in there, whatever you can do for?
No, we did not.
That's coming up in May.
That's in May.
Maybe we got one more meeting.
That's a long time away.
We have one more, yes, stuff on the way.
And it's not gonna come up soon. That's good. May 19th.
May 19th, all ham dinner at Pickles.
At Pickles,
Yep, as usual.
as per you. We are the host
We are the host.
and
This
what that
quarter.
means, it's mandates that you need to just arrange for everything. But Larry always brings a PA system. That's great.
Yeah. So we're good, we're good. Any other questions, announcements, comments? Sweet. All right, our next meeting is May 9th. Yes, it is. Is that the second? Yeah, second Saturday. is May 9th.
Presentation is going to be.
We're working on that because we thought we had one, but we may have to hunt to do something. We have it back.
Jeremy would be a good backup.
Yeah, we have it back.
He should be back up.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that. So. All right, I guess we are adjourned.
Hey, thank you.
Mark, question for you.
No, that's not an eight, that's not an eight, that's
Thank you very much.
He's gonna be both. That's new to me and I'm ignorant about how to use it. And I need to know.
Right, yeah.
All that we have to.
But I'm putting it, you know. Yes, Yeah, I got red dot on the.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, that's my AR. Yeah, let's go with both. Well, just. Shotgun, I never got that. I was always, you know, TRI my shotgun. One said, oh yeah, one line. Oh yeah.
Yeah. All the. Haters. No, right. Yes. That way you bring it back up as a player.
If I have that.
Yeah, my heart rate, you know, one day I was in the rain, but it's like shadows. I don't know why, but it just. Most of the hours. I think they got. It's a bigger one, and doesn't, that's why from the charts. It's not- Thank you, sir.
Somebody was in Yeah, last year. Nobody.
There's all the guys. Hey, go there.
Oh my God. His son is going to change that way.
How much money to watch the silent thing. When we. Okay.
We worked. I think they're making fun. Now, I don't think they're going to get checked. All right. There's no reason.
But just around here, it's supposed to be.
It's all here.
Try to plan out. APRS. What I done.
How long was it? Thank you, sir. Save me again. Those are. Good old. Good meeting. Yeah, I had one. I don't know if my daughter. Get trouble.
Yeah, I thought this was the one you had that night, that first night. I came in here, you had all the
Right now, all I've got.
different escort.
Land is dead. That's the only, other than an expense, that's the only rate I'll look at. I didn't. Want to be all.
Didn't make a mistake.
It's all so.
Yeah, it was a pretty good one.
Okay. Thank you.
And thank you. Hope to see you at McDonald's again.
Well, hopefully somebody.
Nobody's showing up.
No.
He just said there were 30 people. 30 people there.
Yeah.